Good afternoon. Good evening. Afternoon. My name is Shani Cloak, and I am a public board member for the BC College of Social Workers. I've been on the board for the last 2 years or so and have just recently taken on the role of vice chair. And so I'm super happy to be here tonight, assisting Darren and the staff in presenting some of our documents to you tonight. Really happy that some of you traveled quite a ways to get here, and really excited what we have in store for you tonight. Can you hear me okay? Is everything at the back of the room there? Good? Okay. So this is our 10th annual general meeting, and we also have people joining live stream. So welcome to everybody on live stream. There's a communication text box on live screen on the bottom right-hand corner. So if you do have a question, please type it in there and we will get to your question there. So college bylaw states that annual general meeting requires a quorum of 21 registrants, and we have met quorum today. I'll turn it over to Darren now.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for making it out. We may have some stragglers. I think the traffic was a little bit difficult for some people. I'd like to start off by acknowledging the territories that we're meeting on today. So today we're meeting as guests and visitors on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And just to start off the proceedings, I'd like to introduce you to our honored guest elder, Woodrow Morrison, and Woodrow will say a few words. Woodrow was born to a Haida father and a Cherokee mother at Ketchikan, Alaska, and he grew up in the Haida village of Heidelberg, Alaska. At the age of 3, his Haida grandfather took him to the old ones, the history keepers, and his training in the oral history his training as an oral historian began very early. Woodrow holds a BA in economics and sociology and a Juris Doctor's in law degree from the University of New Mexico School of Law. In 1986, his wife was hired as assistant professor at Calgary University in the School of Social Work, and they moved from Alaska to Alberta. And Woody spent some time there between teaching in the university with his wife and working with social policy as a social policy director for the Indian Association of Alberta. Woodrow received Canadian citizenship in 1991. Among a list of things that Woodrow loves to do, be part of, he's the president of the Wisdom of the Elders, Inc., Portland, Oregon. He's an instructor at the Haida Language and Cultural Program, and he's the co-host Co-op Radio with Garangi O'Sullivan. Please make welcome our honored guest, Elder Woodrow Morrison. Thank you.
Take Eilangiskan, the Jostlingiskan, had lasses, Tangat Killa Oyaken. Take Is hat Aken, Kataka still Qualaken. Jetlanas hat I Uri Aging, Countanga Inudika Ang. Heidelberg stood Aging, the Atlusuken. My brothers, my sisters, all you good people, I'm so deeply honored to be here. I don't have the words to express it. I'm of the Northern Haida, Wakak Ishat, the old ones. I'm of the eagle moiety, and my crest is a two-headed eagle. I am called Kawan Sanga. Kawan is walking Shanghai's day. That's a man who walks in a room carrying a newborn child. And I'm from the village of Heidelberg, Alaska. A part of the things I was taught in our oral history was the voyages of our canoes. After the ice melted, we went south to find what happened to some of the people and came upon a people who called themselves Mexica. And from them, we learned, I'll call it a supplication rather than prayer, because prayer sort of implies religion. But anyway, what it was something I'd like to share with you that you can all use. See, we didn't have residential schools, so we didn't have the church on us. We were able to stick pretty well with our own traditional practices. But in that asking for guidance, we ask for the strength to be strong enough to have a soft mind, to be kind and gentle to the weaker ones. I ask for the courage to be tall enough to not be small. That means my stature is determined by how tall I am, not how small I make someone else look. I ask for the clear vision to see where I've been, because I am responsible for everything I say and do. In jeopardy of Nanang, if I violate it, it comes back on me. I ask for the guidance to take me on this road, this trail of life. I don't know my way. I need guidance. And the fifth thing we ask for is for protection I need on this journey. Protection from 7 directions. From that which may come from in front of me, may come from behind me, may come from my right or my left. It may come from above, or it may come from below, or it may come from inside. And once we've asked for those things from Hanuai, the big spirit in the atmosphere, we'd raise our hands in this fashion, signifying that now it's complete. Thank you for making me human, born of a woman. The At Usugen. And after we would do this, we would start our meetings with a light heart. So the old ones always had some way of teasing us about things to make us be able to think more clearly, because passion rules reason. So for you guys, you women, don't listen to this. It's for the guys, so please don't listen. My first 2 wives were smarter than me. They divorced me. And then the third one, we've been together about 30 years now. I figured out how to beat her in an argument. We were exchanging heated words one day. And I said to her, I just figured it out. She said, what'd you figure out? I said, I'm smarter than you. She said, what makes you think you're smarter than me? I answered, I picked you. See, guys, it's not that important to be right. A little compliment will get all being right out of the way. So thank you very much for this honor. I hope sometimes I get a chance to see you in some other settings where we have more time. But thank you so much. When we say Hau'a and Haida, it's not thank you. It's what you touch my spirit. Hau'a.
Thank you, Woody. And just you'll hear later on from our Indigenous committee, and they have a short report. And you remind me that they also like to have an elder present, and it's about opening your heart, opening your mind, and being clearer. And they say it's just a grounding in their group. And even if they don't have very much that they can contribute to a discussion, the fact that they're there really helps the people have clarity about the work they're doing. And you touched on that today. Woody, we have a token of our appreciation and a thank you card. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Great. So Chinese coming up to start the formal proceedings, and it is formal. It's an AGM, so I hope it's not too boring. And we have presentations later on. After the presentations, we've got some lovely food and drinks, and we hope you can stay behind and join us for some socializing and networking. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the meeting agenda. Is there anything anybody wanted to add to the agenda that's not on there? Okay. Approved. Okay, agenda approved, yes. And then the minutes. So assuming everybody's read the minutes, any revisions to the previous minutes from the annual general meeting in 2017? Minutes approved. You up next to, which report is next?
We're just doing a tag team here, so bear with us. So this was our board of directors for 2018. I'd like to acknowledge the excellent work and dedication of our volunteer board of directors from 2018. Also, all the volunteer committee members that don't necessarily need to be board members. In accordance with the Social Workers Act, Section 4, brackets 3, the college board consists of 8 registered social workers elected by yourselves. And election material will go out about mid-year. Elections are generally in October, so please make the effort to join into the elections. And then we have the Minister of MCFD will appoint 4 non-social work members to our board. And they will be referred to throughout our presentations today as public appointees. A special thanks must go out to our chair and vice chair who put in hours and hours of work in 2018. And we're really grateful for everything that they brought to the college. Thank you.
Okay, so report from the chair. So the 2018 chair was Deborah Jones. Unfortunately, she's not able to be here to present it to you tonight, so I'm happy to do that on her behalf. The college and staff and board cannot express how grateful we are to Deborah for her 6 years of dedicated hard work as a board member and 2 years as chair. These are some of the highlights that you can see up here. You can read Deborah's full report in the annual report posted on our website. Some of the highlights include the college is committed to reconciliation in Aboriginal communities and continuing ongoing discussion and collaboration between the college and government, as well as discussion between the college and other Canadian social work jurisdictions regarding the design, development, and implementation of Indigenous social work programs. In 2018, the college gave provisional approval to Douglas College's BSW program and supports Douglas College's effort to seek accreditation with the Canadian Association of Social Work Education, CASWA. CASWA has struck a committee to consider if social work programs in colleges can seek accreditation without having to seek an affiliate agreement with a university in order to seek accreditation. Since the college's inception in 2018, we have advocated for the removal of the exemptions to registration set out in the social work regulations. There continues to be ongoing communication and collaboration with government, Indigenous communities, educators, and BC ASW regarding exemptions from the Social Workers Act, with a view to gaining support for and momentum to remove the exemptions from the Act. The goal is to have all social workers in the province registered with the college and held accountable to the Social Work Code of Ethics and Standards of Practice. Cross-jurisdictional collaboration with all Canadian social work regulators is continuing in order to streamline and simplify social work, portability, and mobility. There continues to be ongoing development of a user-friendly college website, as well as a college social media sites to educate, engage, and inform registrants, future registrants, and the public and all stakeholders about social work registration, exams, complaint processes, committee opportunities, etc. The college received very positive feedback about our website from the communications team of the International Association of Social Work Boards, ASWB. There continues to be ongoing development and revision of the college policy manual. Succession planning for both staff and board continues to be a priority for the board, and policies have been and continue to be developed and revised. Thank you again to Deborah and her report. We will all miss her. She's very passionate about what she does. She continues to stay in the social work field, and we continue to try and stay in touch with her as much as we can.
Thank you. As Managing Director of Policy and Practice, it's my honor to present the Registrar's report today. The report was authored by Joan Braun, who joined the college last year. Unfortunately, Joan's not here to present today, but you can read Joan's full report in the annual report that I think you all received a link to in an email recently, and it's posted on our website in the annual report section. Joan joined us with what I think is an incredible advantage of being a lawyer and a social worker. And I think because we are working with administrative law and social work, she's actually living what we're doing. And I think that was a great advantage for us. Applying her legal lens, Joan quickly realized that the college needed some restructuring with a greater focus on operations and legal processes. I'm so happy to tell you that Joan's efforts paid off in the hiring of Naveed Tarani. And Naveed's here today. He's doing our tech. He's our Managing Director of Operations. So he's going to streamline all your registration processes. Just a small ask there. Thanks. And we have Madeline Kirk, and Madeline's in charge of our inquiry department, and she will be looking at streamlining that department, complaints and inquiry. Madeline, hi. Great. We can't forget our new frontline staff, Rosa Stuckey and Tracy Singh, both of whom will be answering all your telephone calls and emails and efficiently getting those through the system and getting you the answers that you're looking for. Rosa's outside on the table as you came in, and Tracy couldn't be here today. The registrar last year also shepherded the college through an ensuing period of transition, as well as onboarding the new staff. She included developing an annual budget for the board's consideration, providing support to the board in regard of its decisions about whether we were to move location or not, and overseeing the election and orientation process of new board members, all that at the same time, and running the college. It's quite an ask. I personally have to thank Joan for her hard work, dedication, passion that she gave to the college in 2018, and support she gave to the staff during the transition period. Operationally, I think we're doing a great job. And with our new staff, it's only getting better. Many of you know Hoon Kim, again, on the door there. Hoon. I think you've all spoken to Hoon at some point in our registration department. He's gold. We cannot afford not to have him. He's managing a database of almost 5,000 registrants and the application process at the same time with the help of other staff. We're proud to say that we'll almost always speak to you when you call the college, and I think in this day and age that's pretty good going. And we make a commitment to respond to everybody in 48 hours. So even if we don't get to you on the phone or we receive an email, we'd like to get back to you in 48 hours. Although we're improving some of the operations at the college, we face many challenges in other areas. We've fallen behind on the development and publication of new standards of practice for the profession, and are acutely aware that some of you are anxiously awaiting them. We're working hard on that, believe me. We're aware that there's a need in many sectors of our industry for clearer scopes of practice. And we get asked a lot for that, and we're acutely aware again, and we're working on it. Our newly formed Indigenous Committee continue to work hard and help the staff on board operationalize the recommendations of our Towards Developing Respectful Relationships project. And several recommendations came out of the report from that project. We encourage you to join us to help face these challenges, build the integrity of the profession of social work in British Columbia. Board election nomination notices will be sent out to all registrants at the end of July, and you can contact the college to volunteer your name for a working group or a committee. We'd love to hear from you. I encourage you to speak to board and staff in the social part of this evening and get some more information about that. We'd love to have you join us. Thank you very much. Sorry, our board member that was reading this report has not been able to turn up. I'm afraid she's not feeling too well, so I will just carry on in my dulcet tones. The registration committee is tasked with reviewing registration decisions under Section 14 of the Social Workers Act. The committee may also assist the registrar in developing registration policies and practices. The committee consists of 5 members appointed by the board, but not all members need to be board members. In 2018, the college registered 369 social workers. 353 of those were in the full class of registration, and 7 were registered in the clinical class. The remainder were registered in temporary, non-practicing, and provisional class of registration. In 2018, 7 applicants were refused entry to the registration. 17 of those applicants were full RSW applicants. 1 related degree applicant did not meet the minimum standards to enter the practice, and 16 of those applicants were refused for failing to complete the application requirements within the 1 year stated. The registration committee also worked hard in 2018 to develop or revise bylaws and policies in the areas of temporary registration and renewal, the good character policy for the college, restoration to the registrar after being closed, and the temporary emergency rapid registration process for the college if there's a provincial emergency. As mentioned, the registration committee is tasked with reviewing registration decisions under Section 14 of the Social Workers Act. The registration committee received no request to review registration decisions in 2018. The registration committee is tasked with reviewing provisional extension requests. The bylaw allows for a provisional registration to be extended for up to 1 year. No requests for extensions of provisional registration were heard in 2018. Restoration of registration requests. A registrant may apply to be restored to the registrar or as outlined in the Social Workers Act, Section 12, brackets 5. After failing to renew and reinstate their registration before April 30th, 2018, 1 request was submitted to restore the registrant to registration. The registrar restored the former registrant as they were assessed by the registration committee to meet the criteria of special or extraordinary circumstances set out by the college's policy. The college currently has 4,852 total registrants, and we're going up every year. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'd like to introduce our board member, Chelsea Minas, to read through the inquiry committee presentation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chelsea. It's been an honor to be an elected member for the past 4 years. The Inquiry Committee is established by the Social Workers Act for the purpose of receiving and investigating complaints about the registrants in adherence to the duties and objects of the college in protecting the public. The committee held 8 meetings in 2018. The college received 13 complaints in 2018. This is down 50% from 2017. We'll see how this goes. The table on the slide shows the breakdown of the 26 complaints by subject matter and status. Of these 13 files, 3 were dismissed by the registrar. The committee members found the social worker's conduct to be satisfactory and took no further action in one of the files, which means it's closed. A further 2 registrants were issued a complaint resolution agreement, a CRA, one of which was signed by the end of the year. Case files are considered to be active until the CRA is complete. The remaining 7 files continue to be investigated and are also considered active. Additionally, a total of 11 files remain active from previous years. 4 of these are active CRAs being monitored by the college. 2 are CRAs that have been requested by the college but not yet signed, and 5 are still being investigated. Cases remain active until the inquiry committee has made a determination about the case or a CRA between the college and registrant has been completed. Thank you.
Okay, the Discipline Committee report. The Discipline Committee is established by the Social Workers Act for the purpose of hearing matters that are subject to citation by the Inquiry Committee. While most complaints before the Inquiry Committee are resolved through remedial measures, there are some circumstances where a disciplinary hearing is required. Typically, if the information in a complaint file indicates serious concerns about the behavior or conduct of the registrant that cannot be resolved through remedial action alone, the Inquiry Committee will direct the registrar to issue a citation for a hearing by the Discipline Committee. The hearing is generally open to the public, and no citations were issued during the 2018 year.
The Registration Appeals Committee is established to hear appeals from the Registration Committee in accordance with Section 15 of the Social Workers Act. No requests for review were brought to the Registration Committee in 2018.
Thank you. I'd like to call on Emma Govan of our board, who will read the Quality Assurance Committee report.
Hello, everyone. I'm Emma Govan. I am currently and was previously the chair of the Quality Assurance Committee in 2018. So in accordance with the college bylaws, the Quality Assurance Committee is established for the purpose of reviewing the standards of practice and maintaining the continuing professional development program. So our goal is to protect the public by enhancing the quality of practice, ensuring that registrants are participating in ethical and competent manner and taking action where they are not. So the committee held 3 meetings in 2018 in March, September, and November, and electronically reviewed 11 requests for CPD waivers. So by the October 31st deadline last year, we had 4,366 registrants submit their CPD. And on November 1st, so the day after, that means that 440 registrants were transferred into not in good standing due to not submitting their CPD by the deadline. So we also, as a committee, review waivers or claims for waivers of the CPD requirements. And these are due to extraordinary circumstances. So there were 6 full waivers granted, 5 partial waivers granted, and 1 waiver was withdrawn due to completing CPD in the time frame allowed. As you may remember, the committee conducted a survey of registrants' perceptions of the CPD program in 2017. So in 2018, the committee started an analysis of this survey, along with collection of both qualitative and quantitative data collected since the inception of the program, and to do a structural review of the program. So the conclusions of the committee, based on the feedback and information provided from registrants, is that the CPD program is generous in its flexibility, not as stringent as other professions, and that the program should be kept as is. However, the college should increase registrant awareness of the flexibility of the CPD program, therefore increasing communications about options for CPD rather than to change the structure of the CPD program, and that the college should work with the BC Association of Social Workers to spread awareness on the differences between the college and the association and increase awareness that the BC Association of Social Workers offers many CPD opportunities. So the committee is currently initiating a review of the CPD audit process and will communicate any changes to the audit process to the registrants in the timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. We'd like to call on Ruth Kenny, a board member and the chair of our Indigenous Committee.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ruth Kenny. I'm the chair of the Indigenous Committee, and here's my report. Our committee is a new standing committee of the board and must comprise of at least 2 to 3 self-identified Indigenous social workers. We currently have 5 self-identified Indigenous social workers and 1 other board member. Forming the committee was the first action stemming from the TDRR project and the resulting Nashwedo Creek report. The committee was struck at the end of 2017 and had a very busy year in 2018, meeting 6 times. Our primary focus was to develop our terms of reference and review the recommendations of the Nashwedo Creek report to develop a prioritized recommendation schedule for the committee members to action. We also wrote 2 draft letters to thank participants and organizations who collaborated in the Nashwedo Creek project. Our Indigenous community is committed to developing strategies that will help indigenize and decolonize college processes and the profession of social work as a whole. You can find more information about our committee on our page of the BC College Social Work website. And if you'd like to join or volunteer on a working group, please contact the college and your information will be passed on to us. Thank you. Tumigwech.
Thank you, Ruth. Money. I'll present on behalf of the Finance Committee. A Finance Committee is established under the College Bylaw 20, consisting of at least 3 board members appointed by the board in accordance with Section 21, brackets 8. The committee is responsible for managing the board's systems of financial administration, including advising the board on the needs of the board in regard to financial administration and the financial implications of board decisions. They also are responsible for developing, establishing, and administering for the approval of the board financial policies, systems, and procedures essential to the financial administration of the college. This year, we'd like to introduce the external auditors to you, and they undertook the audit last year, and they'll be presenting their findings to the college briefly. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. Hi, my name is Venus Duplin. I'm with the accounting firm Reed-Hurst Nagy. We've been in practice since 1951. We're a mid-sized firm with locations in Richmond, Vancouver, Sois, and Kelowna. I'm a partner there. I've been with the firm for 20 years, and most of my portfolio is involved with MPO audits, government entities, owner-operator entities, and also personal tax returns. And I know you guys are really excited because numbers are so exciting. So I won't keep you waiting. And I think I'm standing between you and the food, so I'll try my best. So this is a statement of operations. What it shows you is the revenue and expenses for the year ending December 31st, 2018. As you could see, the revenue was in line with 2017. There was approximately about a $30,000 difference. However, the expenses did increase a bit by about 200,000. Sorry. Oh, I thought. Two of the main reasons for this was, as Darren had mentioned earlier, there was a number of employees hired. During 2017, there was approximately 8 employees during the year. In 2018, there was 14 employees. So an increase of, oops, you don't want me to go backwards. Right there, where am I? Salaries and wages. About 150,000. Also during the year, there was a HR project that was done, which increased professional fees, which considers legal, accounting fees, and also the consulting. So professional fees also increased. About $60,000. So those were the 2 main differences from the earlier reports. you know the reasons why of those increases. The statement of financial position is a snapshot of all of your assets and liabilities at a particular time. So as of December 31st, 2018, this was the financial position of the college. As you could see, you had, you had assets of 1.8 million, and you had liabilities of 257,000. So I know you guys are all numbers people, but you are very good financially. So you're standing, it's great that you have enough assets to cover not only your liabilities, but as you could see from the previous screen, you also have enough assets to cover your operations in the event anything were to happen to your revenue. So we did conduct an audit, and your audit was a clean audit report. So we didn't find any qualifications. Nothing came up that was material in our eyes. So you should be very happy with your financial audit. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Venus. And I think that speaks to the board and their fiduciary responsibility. And again, we thank the board for staying on top of everything and keeping us definitely in the black there. Yeah, well done, everyone. So that's the end of our formal presentations, the kind of our annual report that we're obligated to present at the AGM. And now we can move into a little bit of fun stuff. But just before we do, we'd like to open it up to questions. If there was anything that popped into your head during any of those presentations, we'd be happy to try to address those. And there should be someone coming around with a microphone for you.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'm just wondering, what are the barriers to having all of the ministry social workers become registered? I know you guys are working hard at it, but I'm just curious, what kind of barriers are you up against, if you can say?
We're just about to launch into some wonderful presentations for some people that have been in that process for many, many years. And I'm sure we'll find some great stuff in their presentations around that. Would you like to say anything about that?
No, you can go ahead and say that.
We're pleading the
Probably
fifth.
Sure.
Would you like to? Is it in your presentation, or you'd like to?
Like anybody can speak.
Sure. Liz Jones, everyone. Yes. Do you want to come?
It's a great question. We could spend the whole rest of the day talking about, and probably into the evening. The shorter answer is that we have exemptions in the Social Work Act. We will, in my presentation, and Phyllis will talk about the exemption to healthcare professionals being removed, but we have not been able to negotiate removal of any of the other 5 exemptions with government. That's what we have to do, is government has to be open to working with us to remove the exemptions. And I'll be talking about the one in health took 3 years for just one. That was relatively easy. The MCFD one is the most complicated. We've come close twice, like really close twice, in the last 20 years that I've been involved, but no cigar in the end. And we will need to have your support to continue to lobby the removal of all 5 exemptions, 4 of which are not that difficult, and well, 3 of which are not that difficult, but the last 2 are really, really challenging. And I answer that as a previous chair of the board.
Thank you, Liz, and we'll hear more from Liz in her presentation coming up shortly. More questions?
Hi, I was wondering if you could speak at all to any feedback you've received about how the licensing exams are going. I ask because I have a couple of colleagues who are in the process of studying for exam, and they voiced concern to me that they find that in trying to study and looking at the practice questions, they find they're having to compromise their anti-oppressive practice beliefs in order to pass the exam, that the questions and what they're told is the correct answer doesn't fit with an anti-oppressive lens, and they're quite concerned about that being in the exam.
Thank you. That's a really interesting question and something I haven't had feedback on up to now. We'd certainly like to hear more about that, and we can strike a working committee and probably try and work with the ASWB to address your concerns. I think that's a real concern. We've had a lot of feedback that there's not enough Indigenous content in the exams, and that's something that we are working on, hopefully. Our past chair, Deborah Jones from 2018, is now on the board of the ASWB, but I'm not quite sure in what capacity. But my personal hope is that she's flying that flag for us. Yeah. But we could speak afterwards about that, and I'd like to hear more. Thanks.
Yeah, hi. I just noticed in the financial statements that the budget for the public awareness was reduced quite a bit from previous year to this year, from about 25,000 to less than 1,000. And given that the college raison d'etre is to protect the public, what's going on there? Like, why would it be so little spent on educating the public?
I think in the registrar's report that I presented, I did say that we're not doing some things that well. That may be one of them. But in terms of finances, a lot of the line items are based on a project that the college puts forward. So if you see a spike in a line item to 25,000, for example, I know that year that was a particular public campaign project that we put on, and the budget for that was probably around 20,000, where we put a spike into that line, and hopefully we see more spikes in that line in the future.
Well, yeah, on that point though, like wouldn't there be something ongoing on that in that regard?
And there is, and
like an ongoing yearly annual line item?
Yeah, and there should be. And this was one campaign that was done a couple of years ago, and we're currently generating a communication strategy for the next year and moving forward. So right now we've just been in transition, really in an operational mode, but the board has been considering from a public awareness perspective what measures we're going to take. And it's part of our strategy, if you see on the wall. Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Public awareness is definitely something that we need to be considering, and we hope to see that that number. I'm glad our finance chair is not here, going up in the next little bit, because that's definitely part of what the plan is going to be, for sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
It is our 10th year. Last year was our 10th year of operation. And I think those milestones are often a time where we look at introspection, and certainly feel that we did that last year. We looked at internal processes and tried to restructure those. But yes, maybe we struggled with external communications in those projects.
I'm wondering the background of the publicly nominated members. Just curious about that.
They're all different. Sorry, I didn't see who was speaking. Oh, hi. So the background is different for all of us. For instance, I work at Fraser Health, and I have a background in project management, change management, and strategy. And then there's someone else that works in communications, and so there's no real alignment between what you come to the board with from a public perspective. We all come with something different. One of the public members is also has a finance background and law, so we all come with different skill sets to the board. Yeah.
Somebody right at the back there.
Thank you. I have a question about the registration of for social workers that are trained abroad. So I'm trained abroad, I'm registered here. I set the licensing exam a couple of years ago. Despite my registration here, some of the employers are not recognizing it because I don't have equivalency report. My question is if the college has a plan of introducing equivalency reports for social workers who are trained abroad, similarly to what the Canadian Association of Social Workers offers. Thank you.
And you're registered with us. I speak personally. I think it's a trust in college process. So we put our international applicants through a fairly rigorous process to make sure that they are substantially equivalent to a degree that a Canadian institution would convey. And so I think it's industry's trust in the process that we put that application through, and I would like to do more work on that. There was a question down here. Do you need a microphone? Any questions online? No, thank you. Okay. Just somebody here. Did you want to ask a question? No. No. Okay. Great. No more questions, and we'll call that a wrap. Thank you very much, everyone.